Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. It's me, your boy Trey, and you are falling in with First Formation Sports Talk, morning sports talk. So come on, fall in as we get it in. We know you got some things to talk about. Let's go high speed. So let's go. Get to formation. Y'all know when I step out, get to your columns, ranks, files, all that. Allow y'all to get into the chat, into the comments, so that way we can know that who's in formation already. Platoon sergeants, get y'all reports, and let's go. Got some things to talk about. As we all know, the NBA draft happened last night. We talk about that. A little conversation when it comes to um, the NFL. Bring back a topic that came up a couple of days ago that I wanted to bring on, reintroduce again. So plenty to talk about in all this time frame. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Can you hear me?
What's good, Cornelius? Yes, sir. What's going on, bro?
Oh, you got it. You got it. Oh, you live already.
Yeah. Trying to get back to the, having formation on time when I can. Got like a little lackadaisical for a second. Coming to formation, doing what I want to do, coming to formation when I wanted to, and stuff like that.
where, where Bishop this morning?
Yeah, as late as usual.
Oh, okay. Just running a little late.
But I know he had to he was supposed to go. He had a he's doing a wedding this weekend, so I know he's supposed to be I know he had to try out some of his go pick up his his outfit. I know yesterday he said he had to go drop it off. He had to go pick it up this morning, make sure the alterations, because he said the alterations are off.
Okay, that's what's up.
He's in the wedding, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
let me see. Oh, where my phone at? Did you what you been up to, bro? Since you been gone, you been away for a second. What you been getting into?
Not too much. Just preparing, man. Get ready for everything that's coming. That's all I can say is pretty much preparing. Uh, hanging out here, hanging out at
You,
home.
you still in Minnesota?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Be leaving soon. Oh yeah. The
Uh,
draft, huh?
Let me check this out. Let me check this out. Where what was? Oh, I'm sorry, brain for a second. Did you get a chance to check out the draft yesterday? Did you take a little look see at what was going on? People, the
I
moving
saw a little
parts.
bit. I saw a little bit. Actually, I watched a couple of hours last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good old ESPN, man. They good at running stuff back, talking about it for a while. Watch some was it? Watch some of what's his name? Scott Van Pelt. Yeah, watch some of Scott Van Pelt.
Oh yeah, Scott SVP.
Oh yeah, I miss Stu, man. I miss Stu for real.
Oh yeah. It's crazy when I had looked at that when for a second. I was like, man, there's a lot of ESPN analysts or that was kind of leaving this earth the same type of way. I was looking at it. I was like, or they was contracting, had the same issues, same
Mm-hmm.
ailments. And
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a look at that for a second, which of course some of them have fought it off. Others didn't weren't so fortunate. But yeah, Stu, it was a real one.
Oh yeah, it's
Let me
cool
see.
as the other side of the pillow, man. I never forget that.
So let me see. Let me see where my ticker. Okay, so let's so the NBA draft. Of course, like you said, you was able to catch a little bit on it. Catch SVP at night. Uh, I was I was at work, but I was following it for the most part. Um, in which basically taking a look at who was picked up in what at what time. I wasn't really able. I didn't start till it was like maybe almost done or halfway through it by halfway through the first round. By the time because I was following via the NBA app, and
Oh,
then
okay.
I looked up and I was like, let me check out ESPN. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing this
Good
morning?
morning.
Appreciate you following in this morning. I was halfway, like I say, halfway through, I looked. I was like, hold on, let me see what ESPN got on. So ESPN was live. I was like, man, what? I was
Yeah.
like, I could have been watching this the whole time and listening in my ear. So I turned to that and started checking it out. Of course, like you said, um, did you see first and foremost? Did you when you were able to look at it and catch the things? Anything interesting to you that came about? Did you expect Panchero to go number one, or was you like everyone else, Jabari Smith as the number one pick?
I knew the dude from Duke was gonna go number one.
Okay.
I knew Paulo. I knew he was gonna go number one
Mm-hmm.
because it's Duke. Um, you know, they haven't had very many first ones, but I knew he was going. It's just set up. And if you saw him in the tournament, uh,
Mm-hmm.
he was probably the best player in the tournament uh, from what I saw watching the tournament. But it's Duke, man. Krzyzewski. Um, but I did have some concerns about that. Like I think the NBA
Mm-hmm.
need to learn, from the past Duke experiences that taking them number one overall just ain't really panned out overall. So like they always hurt, man. Something always happened. It's like I call it the curse of the Blue Devil, man. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the pros, they great in college, do a lot of things, but you can go down the list of all the Duke picks, those top picks from Grant Hill to Elton Brand to Bobby Hurley, all those picks, man, that came out of Duke that you thought would be, even Kyrie early on in his career. The
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing was he was always hurt, didn't play a lot of games. Um, it just seems one of those things with the Duke players, man. I'm not trying to jinx the young man. I'm just saying that reality has proven in that league that when like when you draft the Duke players high, they really just seem to get hurt a lot in the pros.
Mm. So, interesting enough, like Panchero, I had a lapse in judgment in picking because I initially I was thinking Panchero was going to go number one due to the fact of his mother's connections. His mother is actually was a baller. Um, from I think she went to was she Old Dominion? I think she played for Old Dominion, and then got into the WNBA. So they settled in or around the Florida area. So my initial thought when I first was look at it when Panchero had decided to go, decided to enter the draft, I was like, oh, Panchero, Orlando, what's up? Orlando was getting it. I was like, you know what? Orlando's going to get this. But then I had a lapse in judgment. I started drinking the Kool-Aid with everybody else, listening to the conversations in reference to Jabari Smith. And in my mind, I already had said that I think Jabari Smith would have been a better fit in Houston off top. You know what I'm saying? So so the other day when we was talking about who was going to go number one, I think I asked Bishop the question. I was like, who do you think go number one? He said Jabari Smith. And of course, just like anything else, I went with him and was incorrect at the end of the day. But what we did know was the guarantee was the top three were going to be Panchero, Holgram, and Smith,
Yeah.
as that's exactly what it was. Flip flop Panchero and Smith, and now you had that where, like you said, Panchero, the number one selection by the Orlando Magic, Chet Holmgren, number two in OKC, and then number three, Jabari Smith to H Town, Space City, stand up, they in the building.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a good pick for Houston, though. Good
It
pick.
was, it was, it was. In which we will get to that because I do have some questions in reference to those particular picks and those particular teams. As we know, of course, we're accustomed to seeing 60 picks. In this case, the 60 picks did not happen because, as we know, or if you didn't know, well, you now know that basically Chicago and Miami were without a second round pick due to the fact that they were forfeited because they felt last year they were a little early in the process in talking to free agents, and they were basically taking those picks were taken from them as a I guess in their recruiting processes. A couple of trades, of course, before we really get into the thick of it, before it even started. Sacramento traded forward Sasha Venchenko and $1.7 million to the Cleveland Cavaliers for their 49th pick. So Sacramento slid back in. Of course, we know Jeremy Grant was traded
Hmm.
to Portland.
Yeah,
In which do you think that's gonna help boost Portland? Do you think it was a good look? What do you think about that?
I think it was a good move for Detroit.
Okay.
I think it was a good move for Detroit.
A
Uh,
lot of
uh,
people say Portland won the. What's good, Dale? I'm sorry. Good morning, Dale. Good
good
morning. Good
morning. Good
morning. Good morning. How
morning.
you doing? How you doing? So a lot of people said that they think Portland. Like I was checking like some of the polls and stuff. They think a lot. It was a huge landslide stating that Portland won the trade. But go ahead, Cornelius. What you was about to say? I get your
Man,
insight.
Jeremy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
How long has he been around the league? I mean, he's
What
all
seven,
right.
8 years,
Yeah, he's an all
9 years,
right
maybe.
player. I remember him from his OKC days. He's an all right player, man. But that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help Portland. What's gonna help Portland? Um, they've already blown things up, and and then they started playing that game where they were trying to tank.
Mm-hmm.
I have no faith in an organization that decides that they want to tank and then think that they're gonna just bounce right back. It's not gonna happen like that. I think I think they needed to make a real move, um, go after somebody aggressively, or like if they can get a trade or somebody with some real skills to help Dame Lil out. You got rid of McCollum. That was a good for me. That was a good backcourt. That was a good combination.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get over the hump, but
But that's
you
all
got to
they
put
had.
yeah, you got to. And Jeremy Grant's not going to help that situation. So
Mm,
I don't know what Portland's doing, man. They've been Portland been a real good organization for the most part up until recently. I don't know if it's bringing in Chauncey Billups or what's changed their philosophy,
mm,
but they were a real decent organization. Uh, One of the last of the Mohicans as far as always making a playoff run, always being around. And now they just one of those teams that look like they don't know what they're doing now. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's because Chauncey Billups been, what this is going to be only his second year as a head coach or something. I don't know
yeah.
if that has anything to do with it, or I just think it's not going to work.
Well,
They'll
to
realize they made mistakes.
to his defense, he did his first year was without his superstar. So
I
you
mean,
do
yeah,
have that. So we have that. Um, but I mean, like you said, they have taken a turn. But blowing maybe it wasn't as bad as blowing it up, sending CJ to New Orleans, and now Dame has the Lone Star. Now they bring in Jeremy Grant, which I agree with you. I don't know where Jeremy came. All of a sudden, the Jeremy becoming the key player. Like you said, he started out in OKC. It was all right. He left and went to Denver. I was traded to Denver. Had a good season in Denver, which during a contract season in which allowed him to get paid. He got a bag to go to Detroit. Kind of fizzled, I think, in my opinion, in Detroit. And now, you know what I'm saying, then he became another hot topic as that player to go and become part of get traded to Portland, or it was like a lot of people that was actually after him or looking at was a conversation, and then now he's in Portland. I think some of it is what we have is we've entered from a concept of where building teams, having that one or two players, or having the one player, seeing the progression of another player that adds to that, and you go to fish to get another player. Like at this point, I think we're having a remix of now building teams organically, because when you look at it, I was thinking about that the other day. We all know, for the most part, Golden State was built organically.
Mhm.
Uh, of course, they did add at this
Pieces. Yeah.
point. Iguodala and Wiggins were free agents were added, but for the most part, their rosters have been built where it's drafts and they've been built. You have that, so now it seems to be a reinstation of that type of stuff as we've seen throughout this draft. Like now, but it's only seen, but you can only do that with, for the most part, most teams can only do that and be successful if they had bad seasons, whether it's tanking, whether it was just they didn't have the moxie to go, whether it was basically being set back because the free agency period or building of the super teams became prevalent, and you have that where people are being poached and building a team in which it pulls things from the secondary, another team, and there you have it. But we see in Cleveland, for the most part, organically built, as except for they went and pulled in Karis LeVert and not Josh Allen, and Jared Allen in
Yeah,
through trades. But a lot of teams are basically building from an organic process to where they're drafted players or players that are picked up out of free agency pools and basically going about it, putting the vest and hard hat on and just getting to it. But definitely, Jeremy Grant is one of those things where is one of those players. I guess he's that player to where he's a glue guy or that guy who probably can make it all stick together once it's all said and done. They got Nurkic that's there. That's a pretty good forward that scores. When Dane come back, he'll be there. They have Anthony Simons that's there. Isn't Covington there? Where's Covington at? I know he's been bounced
no,
around.
Covington, they traded him to the Clippers.
You're right. You're right.
He's the LA
So
Clippers.
yeah, that's right. I was wondering. I was like, that's why I said Covington's bounced around. So I probably lost, but so he's gone. But I think they have a couple of guys now. They have Grant. I forget that. I think they had a couple pickups last night. But for the most part, I think that's where the NBA lies between two places: the
Mm-hmm.
building of the teams via free agency, or the homie calling up the homie like, hey Cornelius, I'm going over here, man. Like, let's
Yeah,
let's link up. If given the opportunity,
yeah,
in the GM's ears is like, hey, you got that, and then of course you got GMs that are basically looking at as like, let me see youth movements and going from there. So it'll be interesting to see which one is going to be more prevalent as we get further into the season. Because now we done went to the draft. Next thing up is summer league. After summer league, a little break. Um, Training
mm-hmm.
camps come into play, and then of course via the training camps and free agency, summer league, training camps, and then by sometime in October or September, October timeframe, uh, down to the 15-man rosters, and then now a new pool of free agency is introduced because the cuts. People going to the G League, two-way contracts being renegotiated, and all that type of stuff. So it definitely remains to see. So I have a couple of teams for you, teams in which we'll say they're pretenders or contenders, or is it just too early to say for these squads? As a lot of them were very, very, very active in last night's
Yeah.
drafts. The first we'll go with your hometown, Space City, Houston, H Town. Pretenders, contenders, or too early after last night's moves?
Too early.
Too
Too
early.
early.
Too early. Okay.
I think I think with the moves they made, even trading Wood to the Mavericks,
Mm-hmm.
uh, somebody had to go, and they made that decision. And I think they're gonna be tough in the long run. Give them another year or two, then
Mm.
we'll be talking about Houston for real, for real. They'll be back in the conversation in a year or two.
Coach Silas,
Right.
just think you get the job done, or they need to move on, or they might have to. It might not be with him.
With who?
Coach Silas, y'all, the coach.
I think they're gonna have to bring in another coach at some point.
Mm.
Um, you know how they do. They bring in the coach when they're doing the rebuild, and they bring in the coach that's going to take them to the next level. That's just standard, that's just standard sports. That's the standard sports issue. They're going to bring in somebody, that'll take them over the top. You saw that happen with Golden State, right?
Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr. Yeah.
I mean, you saw that happen with Golden State. You'll have that one that helps you build, and then you'll have that one that helps you win. Uh,
Mm.
it's just the nature of the beast.
Okay. Okay. The next one we'll go with Orlando. Orlando Magic. Pretender, contenders, or too early?
Man, it's the Magic. Um, I'm just gonna put that out there, people. I'm gonna be real with y'all. The Magic were contenders. What in their whole lifetime? What the Shaq Penny days? They were contenders, and
Hmm.
then the White Howard like a couple of years. But in the history of the organization, pretenders,
Good morning,
pretenders,
coach. Good morning, coach. Good morning, coach. So, well, okay, I could go with
pretenders
that. So, going back to Orlando is healthy, can make
can
a
make a
play
play
in.
in.
So, and that's kind of where my mindset is. Not for Orlando, actually for Houston. I know Snooks. I mean, I know Cornelius said um, too early. I actually think Houston might be a contender for a play in, especially in my opinion, if someone like yeah, I think Houston might actually be a contender for a play in. Orlando, I can agree with. At this point, I think it's just they're not ready. I'm not even willing to give them too early. I agree with Cornelius. There, we got pretenders in there. I think they're still, even though they got plethora of talent, but I think some of the talent is a little off key, in which they're going to have to make some moves and probably move some people, in which might take another year. Uh,
so,
and
so
and they're in the East.
I got a question for you
Yes, 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 sir.
because I want to roll back real quick because you said you was thinking Houston could be in that play-in spot. Then
Mhm.
who falling off? Like who's falling off? I mean,
So
who's
I got
falling
you, I
off?
got you because I got you because what I was about to say is, especially with the plans for Golden State to run it back with their exact same squad, I don't think that Golden State. I think teams are going to get better than Golden State. I think Memphis might have got a little better, but it's a little presumptuous to say that the team that won an NBA championship and was a 3 seed is going to drop all the way to a 9 seed. So, of course, Golden State is not going to be one of those teams to fall out. But when you take in consideration, uh, I would
I mean,
say I would say San Antonio, but if we say San Antonio is not in the play-in, then that means we're going to continue. That means that there's no room for the Lakers. So in essence, I've got to make two slots. In essence, so
right?
I
The
think
Pelicans. The Pelicans
but
gonna
I think
fall
the
off.
Pelicans. I don't think the Pelicans falling off. I think it's going to be close, but I'm not going to give it to them falling off. Although it could be a year where they might take a step back because they have to re-implement Zion coming in, and different things. But I don't. Pelicans wouldn't be the one. San Antonio would be the one I would think will fall off. But San Antonio falling off the play-in means I would have to. I can't to institute Houston. That means I would have to pull out leave the Lakers out. I do think the Lakers are going to get at least in minimum into the play-in. They will be in the top 10 for the most part. I think they're in the top 10. San Antonio, I don't think they're going to get back there, or they're going to be on the cusp. I think we have Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas. You know, I hate to say it. I think Dallas falls off.
You think Dallas falls off?
I think Dallas falls
I
off.
would have thought you would have went with Minnesota because they've been up
I
and
think, but
down. Because they've
yeah,
been up
yeah.
and down, and they were in the play-in. They actually made the playoffs, right?
They did. They did. It was a
So,
6 seed or something like that. So I think when you saying that Minnesota as well, definitely. But I think we're looking at people on the outside looking in, and this isn't saying that they're just going to be atrocious. It's just I'm just saying they're going to be like outside looking in. I think it would be Dallas in the rebuild.
mm,
Especially if they lose Jalen Brunson, which we'll probably get to in a little bit. But I think Dallas in the rebuild, in a
mm.
sense of reconstruction. I say that reconstruction of the roster, uh, and Minnesota. I think Houston's going to assert themselves. I believe LA reasserts themselves and get at minimum get back into that top 10. And we have San Antonio, Minnesota, and maybe Dallas on the outside looking in as other teams start to push.
Okay, okay.
Let me see. Uh, Another team, OKC,
Mm.
pretenders, contenders, too early.
Um, with them, uh, early or not pretenders.
Mm,
Uh, I used to live in Oklahoma. Uh,
hmm
just when they reached their peak, it was Westbrook and Durant. Um, they went to the championship, they went to the finals and got spanked by the Miami Heat or whatever, 4 games to 1. That's their peak right there. Um, been on the decline since then, man. Like blowing
Hmm.
everything up. Um, I don't think OKC, no matter what they do draft wise,
Hmm.
no matter what they do team wise, really, uh, they got a long way to go. They'll even when they so called finish with whatever they doing over there, uh, they'll still be pretenders. They'll be pretenders.
I, I can give you I can sit up and agree with you on that. I can agree with you with that. Again, OKC is in the West, in which I just went through what I believe to be that for the West, and it just doesn't have a lot. Like they picked up a bevy of players, like a lot of youth, just like actually all these teams in which we're talking about are basically on a youth movement at this point. But
Okay.
OKC with Chet. I mean, Giddy and Shea are nice. We
Right.
see. I mean, do you think Chet was the good pickup for them as far as their
Yeah.
teams? Okay.
Yeah. I do. I think you need somebody that can rebound and shoot, um, and defend a little bit, but we won't know what OKC is until they have like more pieces.
Mm,
I get it. I see what Coach saying as far as them trying to relive, and that didn't work out for him the first time around. I don't see it working out for
good
him.
point.
I mean,
That's a good
you don't
point.
want to repeat history, Coach. You want to do better than that.
Yeah,
And
so
so
yeah, definitely, I definitely agree with that. It can't repeat this history exactly because, of course, in that case, OKC once they figure like I'm a good player or I can be, they basically looked at I should be the top
right.
dog on my own team, and of course broke up that trio, and of course is on from there. Only two of them winning, only one person winning the championships, and of course he went to play with Golden State,
uh,
and it,
you know, Serge Ibaka got one. Uh, don't want to leave him out. He went to Toronto.
he
He got one
was,
for a
yes.
while. And he was a major contributor in OKC. And I like what Coach saying as far as he like more pieces. The team loaded with talent. When are we gonna learn that talent isn't all you need? You need some dogs out there. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have them dogs, you ain't winning. Ain't that what they call it nowadays? Them dogs, man. You need them
Hmm.
dogs. You need somebody with that fire in the belly. And I just think they got a lot of skilled players with no heart right now. We'll see. In time, we'll see.
I like Dort is out there. I think, and Shea as well. But like you said, if it's going to all be put together, I'm a little concerned in Chet's size. I mean, maybe I could say girth for that fact of the matter. Is he going to even be able to be figure on the fire piece? Is he going to be is Chet even going to be able to? He might have a dog mentality, but is he going to be able to exert that? You know what I'm saying? He's a little
Right.
light. He's a little light. So you know what
That's
I'm saying? Instantly, I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Pressure, 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 pressure. Put your body on him. Let's see, you know what I'm saying, what you can do and all that. And
he'll get
I
you
would
one though.
also, yeah, and you know what I'm saying. And then additionally, I'm interested in the process of, I think Detroit, not Detroit, OKC has loaded up on a lot of guards
Right.
so it's like how is that going to play out? It could be pieces in which they're just building to distribute later on or move around. I see Coach, of course, he said the genius in front office. We all know Brad Stevens is pretty nice with it. They went from Ainge to Stevens, uh, and so it presumably it'll work. It can work possibly. I'm not correction, not Stevens. Stevens is in
Yeah.
Boston.
That's
Um,
self.
yeah, yeah. Is it Presley still there? I think it's Presley that's in OKC. So I mean they got their front office has some mad geniuses and maniacal individuals there. So it's possible. I don't doubt
Mm-hmm.
that he's making moves. Of course, stockpiling picks and moving accordingly. But it's just I don't think OKC like Cornelius is saying is probably not ready to go just yet, just yet, just yet. Of course, and last in this quartet of new bloods, Detroit. Detroit
Sure.
basketball. Is that on the horizon? Is that pretender, contender, or too early, Cornelius?
It's too early.
Too early? Okay. Interesting.
It's too it's too early. Detroit, I can't even remember the last time they were relevant in basketball. In any sport really, but
Yeah, true.
but the
When I start
Pistons.
thinking, I start going through names: Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers,
Yeah,
Detroit
yeah.
Pistons. Yeah.
Detroit. I don't know what's wrong. They normally really good with being contenders or being in the hunt at least, or they used to be. Um, Lately, I don't know what's taking. I don't know what takes so long for these teams to make rebuilds. Um, the moves they made last night. I don't know, man. Uh, the way that young man was crying, what was his name, Ivy, or whatever. The
Ivy.
way he was bawling his eyes out. It's so special to him. So I hope he brings that to the court. I hope he brings that to the court. That passion that that he had last night. That feeling that he accomplished something. I hope he's ready to accomplish something for real on the court. Because it's sad to see how Detroit has turned out for a while. But man. Uh, the way the East is set up, I don't see Detroit doing anything this coming season. Maybe a couple of seasons from now, we can revisit that. But now, no, it's just too many
So,
teams.
so for me, I think they can make it to the play in. I think they have a contender to make it to the play in with a lot of I understand completely what you say. I know Coach said he puts them in the same boat as OKC. I actually think they have a little more talent in OKC now. I mean, a little more talent in Detroit than what the youth of the OKC has. Of course, they already had they got Isaiah Stewart, uh, Sadiq Bey, Cunningham was already there. And the pieces I had last night, Jaden Ivey uh, got
Mhm.
added to the fray. And presumably they're still making more moves at the end of it. Got rid of Jeremy Grant, sent them on, uh, and basically just they've in my opinion completely re good morning Rebecca
Good
Jones.
morning. Good morning.
So they basically I feel like they blew up their team and retooled it all in the same at the same time. And they're still trying to make moves. So going forth, of course, going into the free agency, I know there's a couple of rumors, quote unquote, out there in reference to try to bring in Thibault from from Philadelphia to bolster a court. But at this point, I really think that they are contenders. And of course, again, just like you spoke of and brought up the last time, if they're contenders, who who doesn't get in? And I mean, I think
Mhm.
Atlanta is a candidate for missing the tournament. I mean,
Oh yeah.
missing the tourney. I mean, the play in. I think Cleveland still gets in.
I don't know Charlotte, man. Charlotte, that's another up and down team. I
Yeah,
don't know what
Charlotte.
MJ. I don't know what MJ doing with that team. He just, like to be the goat. He was the goat on the court, but man, up there
As
as
an
an owner,
owner,
man, some of the decisions that
a
he
different
makes,
ball
man.
game. Different ball game.
Some of the decisions is like, and then he can't get a decent coach. He struggled to get a coach that even wants to go to Charlotte. Um, what's his name turned them down. So yeah, I can see Detroit, but I don't see them growing pains. You got too many young players. Uh, you're
That
gonna have to
part.
have
Yeah.
some vets. You're gonna have to have some vets somewhere that you know. I think you just saw that with all the young
Well, they
players
they
in
brought
the
in Kim.
finals.
They got trade with Kimball Walker's there, but I think the ideal is they're going to release Kimball Walker or they're going to waive him.
Right. He's not
So,
gonna. Like, I'm saying
because
some formidable vets. You saw what
okay,
happened to Boston in the finals. That young team, man. When the refs not giving you the calls, when things not going your way, it starts to become turnover after turnover. It start, like, and imagine you on the ground level of that. Not comparing Detroit to Boston, but I'm just saying you're on the ground level of that. And those are vets. I mean, those guys are mid-20s vets in the league.
hmm I get
Uh,
what you're saying.
I mean, you feel what I'm saying? So you coming
Yeah,
in, you playing with rookies and second year players. I don't, you know, unless they all stars, you're in trouble a little bit.
like you said, uh, the NBA's version of the Fab Five. Uh, but yeah, so Coach, I see you talking about the comparisons last night was awful. What player comparisons were you talking about, or do you think was completely off? I know I was looking at. I see they compared Jabari Smith to Jerry Jackson Jr. Which I was like they're not too far off from they only are like what 4 or 5 years in age difference. So I think when we do comparisons or when the comparisons are done, it should be a little deeper dive and look at someone where we know that's solidified in their playing. And it's like to compare a rookie player to a 3 year player. I was like, really, like what I'm saying, unless that comparison is just there, like a comparison, that type of comparison, I think is someone like John Morant. Like he's a different Jabari Smith. See, oh wow, you seen that's what you seen, Sharif Abdul Rahim?
Kevin
Wow.
Durant. I don't know about that, Kevin. I was going to say this, like, unless they comparing you to players like LeBron and Kevin Durant and maybe a handful of Giannis,
Mm-hmm.
then, then what is it worth? But Kevin Durant probably won't ever see a shooter like him that tall and with those kind of ball handling skills. You probably won't see that for a while in the league. Um, yeah, Jabari Smith. I think he's gonna be a decent player, but he
I think
might be
he's in a.
better.
I
I
think
think
he's
he
in the
might be better than
perfect,
what a lot of
perfect
people.
situation.
Yeah, I
Perfect
think
situation.
a situation to grow as long as as long as the organizations, man, get behind those players. Sometimes they let them slip through the cracks because and too much losing. Sometimes too much losing can hurt your top draft picks. We've seen it time and time again where that stuff hurts. Like you lose 2 3 years, worst record. Then some of those players don't bounce back from it. So hopefully they start building a winning culture again around them, man. And keep putting good pieces around them.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely. So I ask you this: what I, I see earlier you turned your hat around. You probably didn't want to show the affiliation to New York or whatever case like that. What is going on with the Knicks? What is the Knicks? What are the Knicks thinking?
Man, the Knicks. What's his name? The Knicks. Dolan, man. Dolan. The curse of Dolan. They don't. The Knicks don't have. man, man,
Yo,
I don't know. I didn't even understand. You make a trade. You make a
just in
trade
case,
from the 11th
just in
spot
case
or
they
something,
ain't
right?
know, yeah, just in case they ain't know, the Knicks traded the 11 pick to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City trades 3 first rounders, which is the 23rd, Denver, Detroit, and Washington to the New York Knicks. The Knicks then trade that 23rd pick from Denver, 2023 Denver pick, in 4 seconds to Charlotte for the 13th pick, and then the New York Knicks then trade the 13th pick and Kimball Walker to Detroit for for a 2025 first. So now New York. So at that point, basically New York traded the number 11 pick, Kimball Walker, and 4 second rounders to get 3 first round picks at the end of it, and walk away with nothing in the draft in which they had 2 first rounds.
Man, that's funny right there. That's funny. That's the Knicks though. You could tell they confused. Like just for you to say that, it's kind of confusing. If you weren't looking at it, it wouldn't even make sense. They don't make sense right now. Hopefully, they got a master plan. Is all I can say. Uh, Maybe they know something we don't. I think really they setting themselves up for like a free agent or a
Someone in free
trade
agency, yeah.
or an in season trade or something. I think that's what the Knicks are trying to do.
But so think about it, right? They did this. This, in my opinion, is so uh past esque because, in my opinion, this is what they did to try to get Kevin Durant, and then Kevin Durant didn't go there, and so now I think they're doing the same to get in efforts to try to get I think what it is Jalen Bronson. It's like efforts to try to get Jalen Bronson. They're doing the same thing to try to get Jalen Bronson, and now we're in the same position. It was like, here we go again. To where what happens if that is what they're going after and they don't get that? You don't basically, traded all the way. Yes, you got 3 picks, and it's like 3 picks, yeah, but 3 first round picks is not. You're not doubling up in the same. I don't think in the same round. These
Right.
are picks that spread out over the course of a course of the of years. So basically, he gave up all that just to double back to get 3 first round picks with the ideal of hopefully getting who you want in free agency.
But
I don't know
is Jalen Brunson worth all that?
that
I,
part.
you know, I
He's not
mean, is he
KD.
worth all? I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, are they? So maybe they, I think we'll know more what the Knicks trying to do once we see what uh, what's his name does with the Nets. Once we see what Kyrie does with the Nets, then you'll see their master plan. Because I think they're gonna go after one of those guys or whatever. KD or Kyrie or something like that. If it don't work out in Brooklyn, I mean, because it can't be for Jalen Brunson. I refuse to believe it's for Jalen Brunson. That's just way too much. When right now, a year before last, you were a playoff team. Uh, then you went right back down. You went right back down in the gutter. Um, I think New York Knicks, they got to do something, or else time is running out for them to really start making moves and be relevant again, and be relevant consistently for a long period of time. Like really, they weren't that with Carmelo. They made poor decisions. It's like after the Patrick Ewing era, they made just decision making, like pitiful decision making. Like you gambled on Melo,
Hmm.
which I didn't think at first. I didn't think that was a bad move until you bring in the wrong things in the front office. I mean, Phil Jackson wasn't a good fit, um, and I say that from a standpoint. No matter how good Phil is as a coach, last thing I need is one of my guys, my head of operations or VP of operations or whatever his title was. Bashing my players, man. Like, like that was just bad all the way around. You know, I mean, I get it. If you wanted to coach the squad, then go down there and coach the squad. And remember, they brought in D Fish, Derek Fisher. No knock against Derek
Hmm.
Fisher, but it was plenty of coaches out there that were better than Derek Fisher that could have done a better job and made them relevant. I think they're struggling right now to, I think the top, it starts at the top with the Knicks right now. They're struggling at the top. They're confused at the top and it's trickling down to the court. Thibodeau is a good coach. But are they going to allow him? Does he have any input on these moves that they make? It is he cool with the moves? I would have to ask Thibodeau, are you cool with these moves?
Are
Because
you buying it off? Are you signing off on this?
they
Are you?
overpaid. They overpaid Julius Randle. They overpaid him. They overpaid the guy. So I don't know who signed off on that, or was that a cool? But obviously Thibodeau didn't, because it was all that head clashing right there with those two, the butt and the head. So yeah, man, the Knicks got to do better. I hope they do better in the near future.
That is crazy. Like, yes, coach. To answer your question, they did get 3 picks. Gave up a first rounder this year's first round,
Mhm.
4 second rounds, and Kimball Walker for 3 first rounders in the
Mhm.
future first rounders. Which I guess, and it's just a crapshoot because yes, we say first rounds. For one, you don't know what that's going to look like when when they're able to convey them picks.
Mhm.
Who's going to be there, or what their draft will be, or what the team draft? Because basically they took them off the hands of Detroit and one of I can't think of the other team. Took him off of Detroit, and now what's that going
I
to look
think,
like when that time frame comes up? So you don't know what that for. All we know that first draft pick could be a 28th pick.
but through trade, didn't they get one from Milwaukee to the Bucks? Didn't they get a pick from the Bucks or something like that?
I think so. It was probably. I think it was conveyed via one of the teams that got it for. So that could be.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, for the most part, we can be looking at. You could be moving from lottery to late round, depending on what the team and what they're doing. If you know, what I'm saying, with the idea of everybody's taking these, making these moves to build their team and make them better, to position themselves better in the as they go along. So
Mhm.
we don't know what those picks are going to look like um, eventually. But I mean, it sounds good when we say first round picks,
Mhm.
especially in a draft that only has 2 rounds and 30 players. So it's like we just don't know what we're getting or where it's going to be at that time.
Oh yeah.
So right now it looks very. I mean, they're getting drugged about it, but hey, it could be a situation where it might be some good, pretty good decision making going on. With later on, we be like, okay, I see. So of course, it's staying in that kind of vein where it's like, okay, this is what this turned out to be. We do know that initially the Los Angeles Lakers did not have any picks because their pick that they would have had that would have been the eighth pick overall was conveyed to the New Orleans Pelicans, in which the Pelicans were selected Dyson Daniels with that pick due to the draft, the Lakers trading the players and those picks to New Orleans to attain Anthony Davis later on. Before we get into the Lakers' 35th pick, go trading back in. Um, do you think at this point, do you think it has been worth that trade? Like presumably being the eighth selection right now, when you look at hindsight, do you think that was who won the trade so far? The Lakers or the Lakers or New Orleans?
I think it was a good trade because the Lakers, they may have missed the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years or whatever it is, but they got a championship, whether it was bubble or not. That's what they playing for. That's what they brought AD there for. So I think they got what they wanted so far. They got a championship. Uh, who knows if they'll get another one? Uh, I think the Pelicans got to be satisfied with the trade also because uh, they're becoming relevant, and with the addition of the CJ McCollum, we have to see what Zion does. If Zion can stay healthy, and then picking up with the eighth pick last night, picking up Daniels last night, I think they might be. I think they might be decent. I think they might have some, like they might actually be contenders when you see that whole squad. I mean, like a healthy. I would like to see a healthy New Orleans Pelican squad just to get that whole feel, to see that
Mm-hmm.
feel of what they got going on, because it looks pretty good on paper. Um, but I don't know if they're gonna, like we'll see. I still think um, I don't agree with I don't, I don't agree with that failure part just yet because it does come down to health. It does come
Okay.
down to health, and it's like you got to remember. We can talk noise about AD not being healthy. LeBron ain't been healthy the last couple of seasons either, man. Or the last few seasons actually. So that like we can put it on AD if we want to, but LeBron hasn't been all that healthy, especially coming down the stretch when it matters the most to make a playoff run. You saw last year they were right there. They were in the 9-10. They were in 8, 9, 10, and then LeBron's limping. Coming
Mm-hmm.
in, and then next thing you know, they drop off. I mean, so it takes more than just AD. AD does need to get healthy. He does need to stay on the court a little bit more. But I still think right now the Lakers have won that. But we're gonna see. I think New Orleans is coming. New Orleans is coming with
So
something.
to address first, Anthony. what we're going to do, just as Cornelius said, bubble or not, we're going to remove the fact, keyword being a bubble, it was a championship. Everyone had the same opportunity to get the dub, to win their series, regardless if it was a bubble or not. Everyone played under the same conditions and everything like that. So we're going to remove the fact that it was a bubble. And the fact that everyone had the opportunity to get there to play, um, and had the same opportunity to win a series and the same opportunity to be victorious. It's just LA won out that. So let's remove the word bubble, keyword bubble, and just admonish it as it was the bubble. True enough, but it shouldn't be any lesser because it was the bubble. Go into what Coach is saying. So I'm kind of in between what both of y'all are saying because I ultimately think I'm a person that believes or thinks about like how long, like we play and talk and chat it up and kiki kaka about the fact that Dallas hasn't won a Super Bowl in over 2 decades, right?
Right.
So we laugh about that,
Number
and
three.
so when we talk about that, we like it's basically like saying, yeah, they won, but it was over 20 years ago. Why are we talking about that still? We can't continue. So I look at that in the same way when we talk about yes, okay, we won the championship over 3 years ago. I, how long that speaks to our organization and quote unquote their legacy and their history and stuff like that. But we're talking in the present now. So I also believe like just like we talk about like how much does records and rings and championships, how much does that play into when we're talking about where a team is going and what they can be for the most part. So in that being said, I can see where coaches like a one ring for AD is a failure. So I wouldn't say that, but I could see where he's going with it. Like we can't call it necessarily a failure at this point. I mean, they have made, like you said, they have made the playoffs. Unfortunately, AD and LeBron was injured in both instances last year. I mean, this year injured, and we didn't even get into the play-in. The year before injured, but we made it to the playoffs and just we got into the play-in, made it into the playoffs, and got ran over by Phoenix. Uh, the year before that,
Championship.
yeah, championship. As like we were talking about the bubble championship. The year before that, you know what I'm saying. So it's like okay, where we're at with it. So
LeBron was
I
hurt.
think, yeah. So I was like, we're looking at a point to where hopefully AD can be healthy because LeBron is coming to his end, obviously, and AD was been chosen to be the next one to be able to take them in, to take them to continue to take them to those heights. Of course, with help from whomever the LA Lakers can pull in to be a part of that. At this point, is Russell Westbrook, maybe. And correction, at this point is just the AD because Russell hasn't even opted in to his for this contract. So at this point, it's AD, it's LeBron and AD at this point.
Mhm.
Tyler Horton, Tucker, and Kendrick Nunn, and Austin Reeves. That's all it is.
So I want to say this in response to Coach with the whole the one ring and LeBron thing.
Mm-hmm,
I had said it on the show before. I thought LeBron made an overall they made a mistake when they was getting rid of all the talent, Lonzo
mm-hmm,
Ball, Brandon Ingram. But here's the thing, uh, I can guarantee you LeBron will be in the finals again before you ever see New Orleans there,
mm-hmm.
unless he goes to New Orleans, unless some moves are made, or before wherever Lonzo Ball is, before any of those players, man. If he stays right there with the Lakers, they'll be back in the championship again uh, real soon. I mean, because like his time is running out. Um, and if a healthy AD, it changes the whole West over there. It's just like a healthy Kawhi. It changes the whole West over there, man. It's some players over there that's going to change the West. If they can come in healthy, full strength, then you'll see. I'm not even worried about Russell Westbrook because I think they get the point now. I think as a team, regardless of what happens with Westbrook, regardless of whatever, it's about the players right now. As you can see, it's not about the coach. They got rid of Vogel. They bringing in Ham. He's never been a head coach. It's not about them. It's about going out there, getting the job done, and as much as I don't even like LeBron as far as a player. I love rooting against LeBron. I think he's a great player, but I love rooting against him.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is that more often than not, he's drug less to the championship. And I'm just gonna put it that way. So let LeBron be healthy. Maybe cut back his minutes here and there at some of the regular season, pick it up at the end of the season. That's what I would do. Instead of playing him so many minutes early on in the year, pick him up late. Let him play late, and then see how that works.
You see what happens. You see what LeBron. You see what LeBron talk brings you. You see up and start talking about LeBron and talk about rooting against LeBron, and then look who pops up.
Speak of the devil, he will appear.
I'm just saying, what's up, Ron? LeBron will get one, and he'll get one before any of those guys. AD will get one before any of those guys. So yeah. So it's not, So to me, it's not about a failure right now. I mean, we can say that right now because they've been hurt, but wait until they fully healthy. It is talk that.
Mm-hmm. The Phoenix Suns knew them problems.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Ron, good morning, brother. How you doing, man? Everything good, man?
Trey, I'm late. I did not want to miss this morning.
What's good, man? What do you think about last night? What you think about last night?
It was the most exciting sports event we had since the finals. So,
did everyone go with you? The top three? Did it go as you figured?
Yeah, it was beautiful. No complaints. Everybody landed in a good spot on a good team. It just wasn't enough trades for me last night.
No. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. New York did plenty of trading.
They didn't move up in the draft though. Who did they trade for?
They got rid of Kimba. They traded. They traded the 13th pick and 2 and 4 second rounders to attain 3 first rounders
in a future draft.
In a future draft, yes.
Man, they had one job. They had one job, Trey. That was to move on from Julius Randle before the draft.
Right.
And of course, they do everything but that.
So, in your opinion, real quick, just go back real quick. Out of Detroit, Orlando, Houston, or OKC, who do you feel gets to the at a minimum a play in next year?
Ooh,
in that between that quartet?
What a question. So Orlando, Apollo, they got a good young core, but the East is stacked. There's just no way they get in. Who we got after them? OKC. That could be our darling right there. And I'm not going to sleep on the Detroit Pistons with Ivy and Cade Cunningham, but they got probably a year or two. I would have to pick OKC. Was that the consensus?
I think
not the Rockets.
Not the Rockets. I think the Rockets would before any of them. I know Cornelius tried to hit me with a haymaker and said, "Okay, if the Rockets get in, who does get in next year?" And I had to. In my opinion, being that because it's a little more than what we think on the surface, that San Antonio, Minnesota, and Dallas take a backseat next year.
And the Clippers and the Lakers is taking a spot as well.
That's why I said so. You have to. That's why I say you have to take it. You can't just remove one. You have to remove a couple. So I think Minnesota, Dallas, and San Antonio take a backseat next year. Yeah, I think Dallas is. I think Dallas, man. It was hard for me to say.
You better watch your Luka mouth, Trey.
I just think it's going to be a rebuild period. I think a reconstruction period is coming, and Dallas is going to have to take a slight detour. Now, and me saying this isn't saying these teams are going to be trash. I just think it's going to probably be other teams that's
more like a play-in.
Yeah, at the play-in when they get to the play-in, like it's going to be a lot of gouging of eyes and scratching and clawing at the bottom of the league, and that Dallas is going to be on the outside, San Antonio is going to be on the outside, and Minnesota is going to be on the outside looking in when it comes down to it. I completely forgot the Clippers were even an NBA team in the conversation, so I didn't even consider them. I don't even think they get in, so I think that's another one. So actually, Dallas, I can remove Dallas and add Clippers because I don't even think the Clippers get in.
Okay. Be careful. They've been spanking the Lakers lately. No matter who on the
So
court.
yeah. Legacy. Of course, a couple of players whose fathers or parents have been known, specifically fathers. Of course, Ron Harper Jr. After it was all said and done, received a two-way contract to go to Toronto. Buddy Bohan, two-way contract in Detroit. Yet Detroit adds another one, 6'6" guard that can shoot, hard nosed defense. And then of course, Sharif O'Neal and Scottie Pippen Jr. Pick up slots currently with the Los Angeles Lakers. Sharif is going to be a part of the summer league team and get an opportunity to show his chops to see what stop, Ron. I knew you wasn't coughing.
The Lakers got Lil O'Neal and Pippen.
Yeah, they picked them both up. Scottie Pippen is on a two-way contract. Scottie Pippen Jr. is on a two-way contract, and Sharif is on a candidate to be on the summer league team. So basically, he's just trying out for the NBA. Lakers may or may not keep him.
It's not gonna work, Genie.
Man.
So she brings in Hall of Fame pedigree players.
This is New York Knicks behavior, Trey. I wouldn't expect it.
But this is the setup, because we're going to be talking about this in Bronny in a couple of years. This is the setup.
Exactly.
This is the setup. Bronny is not going to get drafted, possibly, or maybe he will. He may not get drafted. He's going to become he's definitely going to be a unrestricted free agent pickup, undrafted free agent pickup. And we're going to be talking about the same thing, NBA legacy, a year or two from now. It's just he might not be in LA.
I cannot wait.
But I'm sure he will be in LA if LeBron is still in LA and LeBron is in that position. I can almost rest assured that he's going to be probably picked up by the Lakers.
Cleveland Cavaliers, make that happen.
Right. I don't see that in LA, maybe Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland.
Cleveland, you think? Well, it remains to be seen. He might actually become, like you said, a better player, and he might end up going into a situation to where does he go to college? Does he go to the NBA at night? Does he go to the NBL? Like, it remains to be seen and see what Bronny's going to do.
You know what I think, Trey?
What's up?
I think Bronny is going to get drafted by the Heat, the Cavaliers, or the Lakers. It's going to be one of LeBron's former teams. And it'd just be a beautiful story.
Yeah, I think the Cavaliers.
Cavaliers right out. I wouldn't be surprised. The Cavaliers could have been in the conversation that where we talk about those other four building something. They go not just because he's a USC alumnus, but they went and drafted Mobley, even Mobley's brother, and brought him into the fold.
Right.
And they were a force to be reckoned with at USC, and here they go on the same team on the NBA. I don't know. Cleveland's making moves.
And I only say the Miami Heat because they have been dipping and dabbling in the LeBron trade talks, even though they know who they really want, Bradley Beal. They've been interested.
I agree with you, Coach. Like I said, Bronny, I figure he'll be a summer league option as well. Just like who was that? Zariah, Wade's son. Wasn't he a summer? We should see him on the summer league team this year.
Yeah, Shaden, what Coach is talking about. I think he went to the best situation. He's gonna be playing next to Dame Lillard. He could be arguably the best player in the draft. He's built. He has an NBA body. I think he's about 6'8", 6'9". I'm excited to see what this kid can do.
Yeah. Free agency. Woo! It's like, in the words of the possessor, it's finna get spicy. So I asked this question: opt in or opt out? I'm just gonna give you the name. Just telling me where you think is going on, so we can figure out. Maybe we might be able to have a little conversation about where they're going. Opt in, opt out. James Harden, he's opting in or opting out?
He's in. He's in. I see him in Philly. Yep, I see him staying in Philly. I think you got to give it a shot with him and MB to see what they got for a full season. So I think he opting in.
Mm. That Philly, he opted in, Ron.
Yeah, I know. It hit me hard. I just got. I couldn't even answer. I don't even know what to say. Um, Having Joel Embiid and James Harden and a lot of other pieces on your NBA team is not bad problems. And they're probably a top 5, top 10 at least duo. I redo James Harden's contract.
So
I want him.
get him to opt in and then restructure his contract.
Yep, just give him. I would say, hey James, do you really, really need the max, James? Can we take like $1 million or $2 million off of it every year? Let's make a championship roster. But if I'm Philly and if I'm James, both parties just need to make each other happy, so it's not a toxic environment.
Yeah.
Coach said he definitely opts in. He would look awful walking away after forcing 2 trades, playoff bound only.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
No.
I mean, he's not going nowhere because who else is going to take James at saying for that type of money? Like it only makes sense that he opts in, like you said, and then basically goes to the table with Philly and figure out extension at some sort. But who else is he getting an extension with?
You asked the question. The Knicks.
And his Lakers. Don't tell
No,
like the Lakers wouldn't go after James.
LA is not going after James.
Yes, they
The
would.
Knicks.
You know that.
The Clippers, maybe not
The Lakers.
not the Lakers.
CC, do the Lakers do or do not literally go after every player? Every star is apparently going to the Lakers. Whether we talking about Zach LaVine,
They do. They do have a. They are the New York Yankees. They are the New York Yankees.
We
they like
not,
to be handed out, passed around.
I know we're not going after James. I know that we're not going after James. Who else? We didn't go after Durant.
Y'all went after LaMarcus Aldridge and Kevin Durant declined.
That was back in the day, though. We went after LaMarcus Aldridge before he left. Before he left Portland, like that was it. He was a different LaMarcus Aldridge. We're not going to act like he's LaMarcus Aldridge in late in San Antonio.
He was a different LaMarcus Aldridge. Wow.
So we did not go. We went after Kawhi. We went after. We didn't go after Kevin. We went after Kawhi.
No, y'all did. Kevin declined the meeting.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't think we went after Trace until now. Can you imagine if Kawhi would have went to LA? But anyway,
man, he's a bum for that move, and that's why he been injured and ain't been to the finals yet.
We would even be in the position we're in now. I don't think how we go. Well, disregard. I'm not going to even think of it. That's old stuff.
I think he'll be. I think Kawhi bounced back.
He got ego problems. Clearly, he wanted to be the king and better than LeBron.
I think he just liked the competition, man. I think he got that old school vibe in him that it's competition, man. I want to beat you. I want to play against you.
I ain't trying to link up. Yeah, I ain't trying to link up.
I don't want to be your friend. I want to beat you.
No new friends. No
new friends. Okay, next on the opt-in, opt-out talk. Bradley Beal, opt-in or opt-out?
Opt-out.
He's going.
Are you saying that's what he should do, or that's
what is he going to do?
I'm asking CC.
Oh, CC. Okay.
I think he's going to opt out.
Okay.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, he came out and said, I already know which team I want to play for, and I'm going to go play for them. So it sounds like he's opting out, signing a new contract.
And who's that? Miami he wants to go to?
There's no way we can know. We getting Kawhi vibes. Remember when Kawhi hit free agency and he let nobody know, and that's why he went to Toronto because everybody leaked it but them. Bradley Beal rooming with the Heat. He even rumored with the Sixers. I'm like, what? The Sixers been talking to Washington? Okay. Who else Bradley been rumored with?
Coach Rod just said Miami or Brooklyn, depending on what
Mm,
happens with Kyrie.
mm.
I'm mad
Brooklyn.
the Lakers didn't move Russell Westbrook last night, so they could have had some space.
They can't. So I thought the same thing, but what happened? They can't because Russell Westbrook currently isn't even. He has till the 29th to opt in or out. He's not even a part of the team right now.
Oh, he can opt in?
Yeah, he has a player option, in which he was the next person I'm about to ask. The Russell Westbrook
Oh yeah,
opt
this
in or
is
opt
his
out.
last year.
Yeah, he's opt in. He can leave 47 million on the table, or he can opt out and try to go somewhere else. In my opinion, he's in the same boat as James Harden, and uh, going anywhere else, he's probably going to get paid less money if he was opt out. So I don't think I don't think that's suitable. But they couldn't do anything because he's not actually that he hasn't opted in to be on the squad, which could be a power move. Like y'all not finna trade me, or what I'm saying, y'all on my terms. So, but he only has till next week to opt in. So if he doesn't opt in, he's gonna become a free agent anyway.
I think Westbrook's staying in LA.
Yep.
Opting in.
I don't think he's taking less money to play for anybody right now.
That's like a bad marriage. Guess what? We both just here.
I think that's all it's about right there. I'm gonna get this money.
Okay. Kyrie Irving, opting in or opting out?
Whoa. I think Kyrie gonna opt out, but you never know with him. But I think he's gonna opt out.
He's another tricky one. You think the
Man,
same, Ron?
Yeah, he wants a max contract. The Nets don't want to give it to him. If he opts out and can go get a max somewhere else, why not?
Anytime a guy comes up with a wish list, if they don't get their way, I think he on his way out. He has a wish list of about 5 or 6 teams that he wants to play for. Man, he gone.
L.A., Philadelphia.
That part was wild. Kyrie got that to his agent quick.
That's like, I don't want this for dinner. So if they serve this for dinner tonight, I need you to bring. This is what I need you to bring me.
Kyrie's agent had that night. Like, y'all think y'all gonna play with me? I'm Uncle Drew. We up out of here.
And then what was his list? Like I said, the Clippers, the Lakers. Was Philly on his list? Who else was on his list?
Miami.
Yeah, Philly, the Knicks.
Yeah, and Miami. The Heat.
And Miami.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Dallas wasn't on his list.
Because him and Luka can't exist. But can you imagine that?
Why him and LeBron existed and both put up 40 points in a playoff game?
So you think over the course of a season that him and Luka could exist?
You talking about their personalities?
Their play.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luka's too ball dominant to have a player of Kyrie's caliber.
I feel like as we watched the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs, all we were like is they really need a good big man and somebody else that can score without needing Luka to distribute. And the best we got was Brunson. And
I think he could have played in Dallas. Get Luka off the ball. Get Luka off the ball.
You know what? That's a good question. It's a good question you say that. Do you think Luka is the same Luka if he's off the ball?
Yeah. He's too talented. He's too talented not to be.
So if you got Luka sitting down in the corner tray, you ain't gonna have two dudes just keeping an eye on him at all times.
Well, not two.
He still draws a double team.
He's going to draw, but now it's going to be harder for that. So let's say in the hypothetical question which we have currently, if you have Kyrie at the run with the ball in his hand, you got Luka. Now you have a Christian Wood,
and you got Woods in the paint.
Right.
You can't double team that. You're picking poison at that point.
Right. Right.
And you said Dallas was gonna fall off, man. They need to make a trade happen.
It won't be Kyrie. That would be like, you know what? Kyrie is that type of petty where he'll go there just because.
He would look good in that blue.
He's a little petty, but I think if Kyrie does make a move, to be real, when he does opt out, I think he gonna humble himself and go on back to Uncle
Kiss the
LeBron over
ring.
there.
You gonna
Go,
go kiss the
I
ring?
think that's what he gonna do. Like, I'm sorry, I ain't mean it. I
When
ain't
the
mean it. He going
Godfather's
back.
brother had to return back to Corleone.
All right.
Kyrie and Luka would be the worst defensive backcourt in the history of the NBA.
I think Kyrie and AD is really tight.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't remember, but I mean they've
I
been
think
squashed their beef, Trey. They did that a long time ago when LeBron first went to LA. The news was coming out that they was talking and going back and forth. So
And they talk. They've even been talking. It have been reports that him and LeBron have been talking as of late. So I don't know, but of course it all hinges on. In any case, it all hinges on. Kyrie has to opt out. Westbrook has to even opt out or opt in. And
well, Brian Windhorst reported that Kyrie, there is a possibility he would only play for $6 million next year and take the option.
right. Take the
mm,
option.
How
Take the
crazy
option.
that would be! That would be Tom Brady on steroids.
he
Mhm.
said they both spend the most time with each other, injured.
Oh my
That's a good one.
gosh!
That's
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
So of course the last of the opt-ins in which we're probably consensus on this. Zach Levine. Now we all know that they're saying that he's going to opt in, but of course, just like Ron pointed out, Kawhi was on one thing. He even cost us, in my opinion, cost us a little something because we was waiting to see what he was going to do, and everyone else was passing us by on the highway, and then he decides to go to the across the hall. But Zach Levine, opt in or opt out.
I think he's gonna opt in. I think he'll stay with. I think he'll stay with Chicago. Um, I don't. Chicago. They right there. Like a couple of more pieces, they might be real relevant. So I think he'll stay. Um, and besides, it's not a lot of hype around his name anyway. So I think that's his best option is to opt in.
At least not anymore. Is any hype around him? Uh, it's all around Demar.
Right.
Look at coach. That's his squad. My Bulls. We opt in. He wanted the Lakers, and realizing that won't happen, he's coming back home.
So if I'm Zach Levine,
hmm
do I want to play in Chicago?
So I think I could get your point. Like you was there. You was in Chicago before Demar gets there. It was your squad. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even your squad. I don't think. Then when you had an option to be your squad, they bring in Demar. Then it's expected to be your squad, and Demar completely takes over. They brung in your replacement, so to speak, not so much. So I can understand your point, but I think he will. I think you would, due to the fact of what could have been.
Nothing.
You get a. I'm about to say you get a Robert. Was it Robert? What's his name that comes back? He be healthy.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
power forward.
Vucevic. Their other power forward because we can call him a center. All that could coach. He doesn't want to be there. It's the money and better role in Chicago. He goes to LA. He turns into Kyle Kuzma.
Thank you, coach. So if you're Zach Levine, you're Zach Levine. You're gonna get your money eventually. It's too
hmm
bad you struggle with your injuries, but you are barely in your prime. The options, there's like 10 teams that are just thirsty for him.
You
There's
think
so
so?
many. There's so many better options.
So you're saying Zach Levine has played himself to more options as opposed to the years before?
Yeah, I can guarantee you. We know the Lakers is interested. I know
hmm
Dallas would be interested. The Brooklyn Nets would definitely be interested. Miami Heat would be interested. The Philadelphia 76ers. They just like the Lakers. They just about interested in everybody as well. Daryl Morey have a meeting with you quick. Yeah. You
One
get
place I
elevated.
wouldn't want him to go, I would not want Zach to go to Portland nor New Orleans.
Right. I would hope they would be interested. So You could literally elevate your career and your play to other levels by going and joining with more stars, better teams than just DeRozan. That's all Chicago is, Trey. I can't believe you went through those list of players. It's DeMar, who's incredible. But
Right.
how sure are we that DeMar is going to be able to do that again?
I was about to say, we all know he's from my city. Shout out, a fellow USC alumnus. But we know DeMar only shows up during the regular season,
The
a
Chicago,
portion of the regular season at
the,
that.
the Chicago Bulls are going to be a seventh, eighth, ninth, or 10th seed in the play-in, and then you're going to be sitting at home, Zach Levine. Go
You know
play with
what?
some dudes, compete for a championship, and then get your max contract. But it ain't gonna happen. What you
You
got,
know
Trey?
what? If I think if DeMar delayed what he does, because he does it every year, he comes out hot, blistering, blue hot, blistering, and then by then it's like, you know, saying how Charlie Clip say, "What room are you in?" Like he's like, "What happens? Like what is going on?" So I think if Lamar flips that, they have a better chance
Mm.
in Chicago. Just be mediocre, and then after the which of course mediocre means you probably don't get into the All-Star game, but after the All-Star game, become first half of the season DeMar, and then Chicago is going to be a problem.
The
Chicago.
Toronto Raptors are gonna be better than Chicago. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if the Orlando Magic had around. I can see them getting into 30 wins, and Chicago probably gonna be about 42, 43, and 41. Atlanta's better than Chicago. Charlotte and LaMelo is gonna be better than Chicago.
You know what? I had a thought in my head today. Get rid of AD and send Aiden to LA.
AD for Aiton.
Well, no, not AD for
No.
Aiden. That's not what I'm saying. Hell no.
Well, I was about to
No, not AD for Aiden. That's
Trade
like
AD, get some pieces, then sign AD.
and get rid of AD and somehow get Aiden. But I wouldn't want it would have to be a three-way trade so that way Phoenix doesn't end up with AD.
So which team you calling up to trade AD to? Who's gonna be
That's
your
all.
first
say.
call?
It could be anyone on the East Coast. Trade them to Chicago.
I would tell you to call Philly.
No, I don't want them in Philly either. I don't want them in
Really?
Philly
You
either.
wouldn't
Nah.
want you wouldn't want
Hell
you wouldn't want
no.
you wouldn't want Maxi and Tobias?
For at the no. And
And they
this is
could
why not.
and
This
they
is
could
why
throw
not.
in a pick and Thibault.
Man.
This is why I wouldn't want Maxi or Tobias because that's still putting AD and MB together. Like you have to look at like, no, I don't want that.
I do.
I'm sure, like
All
that's
right. So you gonna call up
that's just setting the table for us. That's like waiting. You know how they be showing the thing where on movies where it's like the storm is coming and your car is driving. That's exactly what that's doing. Like no, I don't want to see that.
so what you gonna ask Chicago for? Vucevic, LaMelo, Lonzo and Caruso?
I would hope that Phoenix will sign. It'll be a sign and trade, which means they can go to Vucevic can go to Phoenix. I don't mind that. I just don't. I don't want to see. I just want to. So I don't know. Like I said, it would have to be. Like I said, Chicago. AD would have to go to Chicago. That's just point and blank. AD would go to Chicago. Vucevic could go to Philly, and
Man.
we can
I don't
still
I
get.
don't I don't I don't ever think Phoenix is gonna sign and trade Aiton to y'all.
Nah,
Right.
it's not going to have to for the most part. He's going to be
Right.
he's going to be a restricted free agent. So,
They
but
can match.
he's definitely probably out. Coach said they'll take AD in Chicago. They have a Levine and Vucevic.
I really don't understand Coach at all. This was the man. This was the man that was just saying that AD is a failure, and now I will take him in Chicago. He's a failure, but we'll take him in Chicago. I don't get that
You know, players
at
play
all.
differently when they get home. Good, bad, or indifferent. They play differently.
You know, I'm
Westbrook
just
come
saying
home.
he
We
just
had
called him
we
that a
had great.
failure.
We had good
Yeah,
things. We had
but
plenty of
we'll take him.
thoughts, and then it all
Yeah,
fell apart.
I think AD should stay where he is, but I'm telling you, just be patient, Laker fans. They'll win another one if y'all just be patient. Him and LeBron will win another one. They'll win another
Mm. Chicago doesn't have the same
one.
expectations as LA.
I'm not
I mean, I
letting
get
AD
it, but
play no back-to-backs this year.
No back to backs. Rest them every year back to back.
I would let him get healthy. He should probably hit the gym a little bit, man.
I just feel like it
Strengthen
doesn't
legs.
matter.
Hit the gym on
Nothing,
leg day.
nothing we can say. We can put him in a hyperbolic time chamber, and he's still gonna get injured in there.
You gonna get injured in there.
I'm just saying.
Like
leg
Los Angeles
day.
Laker All-Star Anthony Davis injured after he left the hyperbolic chamber. He says that as he was getting out, his shoe was rolled over and he rolled his ankle on. Like, what?
The Lakers have to prepare a team where he's not the first or the second option, and that's crazy. So LeBron needs to be option number 2. They need to find a new number 1 if they're going to win a championship.
I can agree
and
with
it
that.
can be Kyrie Irving. He would gladly come take all the shots.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying Kyrie. Look out for Kyrie in LA, man. Look out for that.
Kyrie's MVP year, Trey.
Go back to LeBron.
Stranger things have happened.
AI type of season.
So bringing up something that we was talking about a couple of days ago when we talked about potentially who is the top 10 all time, in which we had a plot. One of the individuals that answered on the actual on the show in the comments, I seen where he went back and he posted on his own personal page and the answers. So of course his brother, Mr. Bradley Reed, who I had the opportunity to coach and work with for my Lake Charles basketball team a couple of years ago, he responded. So he was like, basically, he's like, people are smoking when they put certain people in. One of the people, he's like, Bill Russell. He's like, Bill Russell should not be in the top 10. And so I was like, oh, wow. And so I asked him, I was like, well, why not Bill Russell? So his response, and I'm going to give you his top 10, which Ron's going to probably be like, oh, okay. But his top 10 is like, I'm glad you asked me, bro. There was definitely ways to separate MJ and LeBron. There's no 1A or 1B. That's his brother was the more Cam answered. So remember, he said LeBron 1A, Jordan 1B. He's like, there should be only 2 to 3 bigs on the top 10 list, and that's Kareem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, and Hakeem. Kareem, Hakeem, and Shaq should be the only 3 bigs. He's like, Bill was nowhere as skilled as those 3 guys. Not saying he shouldn't be considered a great, but basically to the others, but he's not better than those 3. He said, then you round out the list with more than the obvious picks. He's like, if Kobe isn't on your top 3, isn't in your top 3, you may need to reevaluate your list. And then his list was LeBron number 1, Kobe number 2, MJ number 3, Kareem 4, Magic 5, Shaq 6, Larry Bird 7, The Dream 8, Tim Duncan 9, Steph Curry 10.
I just want to say this in defense of Bill Russell.
Okay.
Man, it's two players. Check this out. It's 2 players in NBA history that average 20 rebounds a game, and Bill Russell is one of them. Do your research. Bill Russell is one of them. Wilt Chamberlain is the other one, and 11 rings, man. Like, is winning not considered? I'm just saying, don't you play the game to win? Who said that line? You play to win. You play to win the game, right?
You play to win the game.
You play to win the game. It's about winning. 11 rings. Bill Russell, he has to be on your top. He got to be in your top 10.
So, to your point, look, and it comes back to what we was talking about earlier, what we talked about before. Do championships? What's the weight of championships?
I mean,
like we know, Bill Russell won for real. He won as a coach and a player.
Right, that's what I was going to say. A player coach. Have you ever heard of who's been a player coach since? A player coach. A player coach. That means I'm out there on the court and I'm coaching a team. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for real. It's like I'm drawing up X's and O's and I'm out there on the court at the same time. The player coach, man, you can't take that away from Bill Russell. No disrespect. I mean, I can see his list, you know, as far as some of the players, but I don't like, you know, LeBron in that top spot. And I know he's gonna have all the records, but just because you play longer, didn't we learn that from Kareem? Just because you play longer don't mean that you're the best thing ever, man. Like I like LeBron, but I would switch. I mean, you know, MJ is always gonna be at the top of my list. And again, it's one of those things. 2 players in history have averaged 30 points a game for career, and Michael Jordan is one of them. Only 2.
CC,
and Wilt Chamberlain is the other one.
Who in the world are you putting above LeBron first, sir? Please.
He just said MJ.
No, he said he wouldn't have LeBron in the top spot either.
He said MJ's always going to be his top.
LeBron.
Oh, okay, I see what you say. Yeah,
he's
LeBron
has LeBron in the top. No, LeBron is number 2 on my list, man. All time. Okay. Right? I mean, look, I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy. I'm not a hater of the guy. I'm just not a fan. You know, I like to root against him. But you can't deny what LeBron has done in that league, man. He's number 2 on my list. Much respect to Kobe, but Kobe would be somewhere about 5 or 6 on my list, not 3. Not 3. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't slight Magic or Kareem, man. I couldn't slight either one of those 2. I just think overall body of work, man. Kareem had a shot. Nobody even used that shot just today, but nobody could block that shot or stop that shot. Like, you know, Kareem, that sky hook was deadly. And I just saw a thing, I think yesterday I saw something, I was reading something where Kareem was taking shots at LeBron. Well, not really taking shots, but he was saying, because LeBron getting ready to pass him on the all-time leading scorer thing, you know, NBA's leading scorer. And I know he was talking about what did he say, man? He said he's the leading scorer and he's held that title for decades with only taking 1 3-point shot, and you know what I'm saying, with only taking 1 3-point shot in his career. So he did it at a time where it was no threes. And I think him, Russell, those things have to be considered, man. Like where they are as far as what they did, as far as do we not, like I said, do we not count winning, or do we just count, you know, like who we like just or whatever, skill, you know,
skill particularly. And that brings up, because it's funny what you saying that, because now that brings up the question. Like I see coaches like, let's be real, Hakeem's only relevant because MJ retired. So basically, the 2 years. The years in which LeBron was gone is where Houston got hot and Hakeem became relevant. Is what he's saying.
All I ask is, do people not know history? Do people not know history? Man, Hakeem Olajuwon is either number 1 or the number 2 greatest shot blocker ever in the game, bro. Like in the game. I mean, so it has nothing to do. And he came in when MJ came in.
Yeah,
and you know. I mean, do you feel what I'm saying? I mean, he's like 1 or 2 the best shot blocker. I mean, Dikembe with that finger wag couldn't touch Hakeem, man. And you see him, he dog Shaq.
That's the thing Robinson. About him.
Patrick Ewing. I mean, name them all. Bring whoever you had. You know what I'm saying? Hakeem dogged them all, man. I mean, it's like,
think of Dream of like he's most known for the dream shake. For his offensive moves, his footwork, like he plays soccer.
Right.
That's when everybody was like, "Hey, maybe we should play soccer."
Coach is out of his
right, and that's
Coach is out of his mind.
The best thing about him, that was his defense. Like he was vicious.
So y'all basically saying
Kobe, I just got to put this out there.
Go ahead.
Kobe's and the LeBrons went down to Houston to learn the footwork. Shaq went down to Houston to learn what he called the feet work from Olajuwon, man. Come on, stop it, Coach.
We got to look at him like a version of Steph Curry. He kind of reshaped and redid the expectations for big men.
So,
and the only person that has better footwork than him is Mikal.
So basically, Hakeem is still on y'all list even without the rings.
I don't think there's another center that's played in the NBA that can get with the dream outside of Kareem.
Right.
Y'all think Shaq could?
I mean, Shaq. We saw Shaq couldn't. He swept Shaq. Like, see you. You know, he
that
swept Shaq.
part. That part.
Do
You know,
y'all believe that Duncan and Bird are getting slighted on these lists in the lower tier, or you think they are where they should be?
Oh,
Because
we
everyone
already
has them.
know Duncan's getting moved to the back. He won't be on this list in like maybe less than 2 years. Let Giannis win another MVP and championship.
Oh,
But Larry Bird, you know, he injured his back. He didn't really get to play out his whole career. But we all
they
know,
said Larry was a problem though.
even
Like
Magic Johnson
top tier people
knew,
said Larry was a problem.
even knew Magic Johnson knew Larry was a problem. When I'm really trying to give a hot take, I'll say Larry Bird was the best player to ever play in the NBA.
Mm.
I
But
say, go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
he's never gonna get that respect. But
That's true. That part.
Larry,
Him and Pete.
Man,
wow.
it's hard to keep those lists steady as far as how you look at the list. But Duncan and Bird both, man, it's only like what they one of what they two of what 20 people maybe overall in the league, 20 and 10, man. You can't discredit, like, 10 rebounds, 11, 12 rebounds a game or something, man, for career wise. I mean, I just don't know how you put I just don't know how you overlook the body of work. Like, Duncan was that solid assassin as far as doing his thing. He wasn't as flashy as everybody else. But man,
And
but
Bird,
San Antonio had David Robinson, who was supposed to be great, and I think he on this is David Robinson on the 75 greatest list with Duncan
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
He's a
And,
75th. Yeah.
and he couldn't do anything until Duncan got there. You know what I'm saying? Until he couldn't win until Duncan got there. I mean, so that says
crazy.
a whole lot about where Tim Duncan is, and Popovich. Would Popovich have been as relevant as he is without Tim Duncan? Without building around Tim Duncan and bringing in players? I mean, you have to ask yourself. Sometimes players help make the coach, right? He rolled with Timmy as long as he could, and now look at where they are without Tim. After Tim, it's been a struggle.
Yeah. Although he was one Zaza Pachulia dirty play away from a championship.
Well, yeah, I do agree with you on that one, bro. I mean, that was
crazy.
highway robbery.
My last thought is we will always be able to have the conversation. Maybe we should move Larry up above, maybe like a Magic Johnson, maybe
above
like
Magic. Whoa, okay.
We could always have that conversation, is what I'm saying. We
Oh,
could be
okay.
Larry was just as good as LeBron, if we're being honest. We won't ever be able to do that with Tim Duncan. He's always going to move further back. Like,
okay,
we'll never be like, Tim was almost as good as Shaq. Like, not really.
Dude, was Tim better than Carl? So if we're talking about power forwards, do y'all foresee
Right,
Tim?
exactly. That's who we really gonna be like. Because Karl Malone was as good as Tim. He just didn't have the rings.
Charles Barkley? Well,
yeah.
I think San Antonio has 0 rings without Tim Duncan. I'm just gonna put that out there.
He got them 5 rings though. I am hating on Duncan.
I can see the hate.
But Tim Duncan played 20 years in the NBA and never missed the playoffs. There we go.
Right. I mean, right. It's and to me that speaks for itself right there. You can't slight Duncan on that. It's hard to make those top 10 lists. I see Curry that's snuck in there.
The best ability is availability. Tim Duncan, I don't ever remember him missing a game. Even when he got injured, he
reverted back, Coach. He has stated that Tim Duncan did have something. He's not completely riding on Tim Duncan.
I know.
The big fundamentals.
Big fundamental. You know we got love for you, Tim.
Timmy.
I mean, yeah, I don't think Duncan. I don't think San Antonio wins without Duncan. You saw. I think the wild card to me is Shaq, man. Shaq, the size, man. I know he's 20. I know he's one of those 20 and 10 dudes, man. But the size, man. I think that's what made him the most dominant is his size. Um, not as agile as the rest of them, and you know.
Oh my goodness.
But I think it's hard to pick, man. That list is cold as far as but do the 3, 4, and 5 again, Trey. One more time.
That 3-4, his 3-4 and 5 was MJ, Kareem, and Magic was his 3-4-5.
MJ, Kareem, and Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like Magic and Bird will always be a part of the top. Like I said, it's always going to be a dispute, especially with the disparities between the eras and stuff, man. It's always
And
going to be that
that's
dispute.
what it's clearly you can tell that he's more of a millennial because Bron
Right.
and Kobe is his 1 and 2.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's always going to be that disparity, but uh, man, Kobe at 3 though. Mm, hmm. You know, uh, Kobe did win early. But he started winning when he was 21. What
Mm-hmm.
they start winning championships. But man, it's hard to validate Kobe totally because he did play with Shaq as far as they brought Shaq in, and then
He did it
Shaq
on his
was
own, CC. I won't let you do that. He did it on his
at that
own.
point
And
Shaq was dominating.
Who did it on their
At that
own?
point,
Kobe.
he said Kobe did it on his own.
Repeated.
I don't take nothing away. I mean, man, hey, it's been great teams run. It's been great teams, man. I don't knock that at all. I'm just saying that we gotta weigh that in when we talk Kobe, man. That they had each other, and they could have probably won for a decade, or a decade and a half or something if they stayed together. But we'll never know about that. But it was just, man, it's just Kobe.
Kobe was so good that the very own commissioner of his league had to jump into a trade and intervene because he knew a certain player being with Kobe, one of the greatest all time, would just be completely unfair. Chris Paul.
Man, yeah. You talking about the Chris Paul trade? Yeah.
That set us back. That set us back.
And back then
that hurt us in so many ways.
Back then I didn't even know a commissioner could do that.
Kobe might have got 10 rings
at the time, right?
Well, the only reason he was able to do it because the Hornets wasn't owned by anyone. The NBA owned them, so he intervened. But yeah, that set us back because that trade caused a rift in the roster because now Paul Gasol was looking at like I'm not wanted. Lamar Odom felt betrayed. And like that completely just caused a huge rift.
And my other problem with Kobe, man, is that man, how can you put him above? How can you put him above a guy that he emulated? I don't even understand that. Like every single move, everything that he ever wanted to do on the basketball court, he studied Michael Jordan. How could you ever put him above the guy that he emulated? I don't understand that one at all. That's all I'm saying. And that's it on the whole thing as far as that list, man. But yeah, but how do you put him above the guy that he
MJ did better?
Now I kind of what I'm starting to see late in life for me is almost similar to what Coach has here. Like, of course, love Kobe, but I don't see him as top 5.
Right.
I do agree with that. Greatest Laker. I can't even go as far as to say greatest Laker ever. Like I feel like you smacking Jerry West, Shaq, Magic, Kareem to put Kobe in that as that. I have a little reserve sometimes in mentioning LeBron as a Laker great because he's technically a player that was great that came to the Lakers. So, but I do take it.
In reality, real quick, Trey, Kobe is probably more around where Steph is at right now. 8, 9, 10. The reason why people have Kobe so high is y'all have not included his impact in everything he's brought and done and contribute by being in the league. And he did MJ better than MJ. That's really why, like, when Kobe died, the whole world cried.
It was like a Michael Jackson.
Right. And that's what jumped him up so high in the list, his impact.
Mhm.
So in reality, yeah, I agree with y'all. But I'm shocked by the Kobe slander, fellas. That's why I had to say that. DC had multiple reasons why. I was like, more.
He said, more? Like, we got done yet?
Yeah, man.
But yeah,
Curry, Curry on the top 10. So y'all agree with Curry being in the top 10 right now?
He's at 10.
So to be what you said, because you said something that was key, I think, CC, in which you was like, some people change the game, right? At this point, I think Curry is one of those people who has changed the game in the later years of our lives of what we've been seeing. What I'm saying? Because of course we've seen Magic play, we've seen the back part of Kareem, we've seen Jordan play. Now we see LeBron play, KD, and we see Steph. And out of all those names in which you speak of, only one of them has been changing the game and how it's played and having a huge impact, and that's Steph Curry. Like, yeah, dominant. Kareem was LeBron was dominant, was a dominant force, but he didn't change the game. Prior to him, I think the only person that changed the game was Shaq. Changed the game as a dominant big man and showing that you could just be pure power and be dominant and and be a force to be reckoned with. After that, I think maybe we shifted a little bit with KD as opposed to LeBron.
James didn't change the game?
I don't think people changed the game. No.
Okay.
Well, no. Okay, I digress. He did show that he can be big. He can be big and powerful and fast. So he
started the player empowerment movement.
Yeah. So
I was gonna make a
okay.
note.
I'll give you that. He did. He started the super team. He didn't start the super team. He just made the super team part of it better.
You obtain it by bringing up
and more relevant, right?
He did. He made it more relevant.
It's
but
like
I think
LeBron,
Steph Curry definitely has changed the game
because he was definitely the king of the East. I mean,
without a doubt,
he was definitely. He was definitely the king of the East.
Do y'all think that is prevalent to say that obviously the West is better because LeBron left the East with dominant faction, came to the West, and now it's 50-50. So is that a credit to the West and how the West is played, or is that a credit to or a discredit to the Lakers and how they do things?
If AD's healthy, ain't no dang Warriors and no championship.
If AD's healthy, I even go a step further. I say that if Kawhi and Paul George can get their stuff together, you don't see the Warriors, man. I mean, I think it's going to be hard for the Warriors, especially the age, man. Like they getting old too. Like Curry looked like he was a little tired too. Nobody likes to mention that part, but at certain parts of that series, that finals, he looked like he was tired. So I just think that once the West, I want to see the West fully stacked. I want to see Denver fully stacked. I want to see the Clippers healthy playing. I want to see the Lakers healthy. I want to see all those teams healthy. Then I want to see where the Warriors stand. Hopefully, we get to see that next year.
At the bottom.
At the bottom of the I don't know about that. Well, yeah, probably so.
And it's making me frustrated because it just came out. The Warriors' main priority is bringing everybody back. I'm for what? It was Steph and everybody else. Why ain't y'all try to put somebody next to Steph, man? What is y'all doing? Draymond don't got it no more. He gave us one game in the finals. Clay definitely don't got it. Poole didn't have it.
That's what they're looking. And those are the ones they want to. Their priority. I did see it where the priority is Poole and Wiggins to get them taken care of, and then look at bringing everybody else back. Like true enough, like you said. Why? Like at this point, why? Who else? It was Steph. That was Steph.
Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins are Warriors. Everybody else is available. Come on, Bradley Beal.
Clay, come on.
I like their loyalty. They're really loyal to keeping Steph, Draymond, and Clay together, and it's going to be a beautiful story.
I mean, they're the most winningest trio in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think I think take nothing away from the Warriors. I just like man, they got lucky a couple of times. Like he
Every
said,
time,
the
every
whole
championship run, somebody got
well,
injured
yeah. Remember Chris Paul got injured with the Rockets
with the
when they
Rockets.
were up against the ropes. Remember before that, OKC just collapsed though. It was no injury. It was just Russell Westbrook refusing to realize that Kevin Durant was the man on that team,
Right.
uh, and let him. I think the
Kawhi
Warriors
got
lost that year
injured.
though. Yeah,
Kawhi
I
got
mean,
injured. Kyrie and
so
Kevin
I
Love
want to.
got injured.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So
this year, everybody got injured.
but you got to play against the competition that's there. So when the Warriors got hurt and Toronto won, it was the same thing as far as like what would have been if they were all, if Durant was healthy and Klay Thompson was healthy, with Toronto and won. I think Kawhi is that guy. I still think they would have won in a 7-game series because I think Kawhi showed people how to play defense against them, man. Uh,
Mm,
LeBron knows how to play defense against them also.
mm,
If you had the right pieces, like
mm.
the biggest thing you can do to Curry is that physicalness. Get physical with him. I think Marcus Smart and his past thing too much flopping, man. If he used his size the right way and went at Curry and wore Curry down, because when Curry gets frustrated, he sits across half court and he starts jacking. He doesn't want you to bump him. He doesn't want you to touch him. I'm serious. Like he won't go in the paint. If you knock him down too many times, you saw the way he kept looking at the referees, and a couple of times he didn't want to get up. You do that consistently, guess what he does? He starts jacking up from half court.
Mm, mm,
For real. He just starts jacking.
So with
And Draymond won't give you anything. I mean, what is Draymond going to give you against a stacked Clippers team, a stacked Lakers team? The healthy teams. What is he going to give you against those teams?
He ain't gonna have
Other than
nothing for. He ain't gonna have nothing for AD.
other than a kick in a right?
Exactly.
so Coach Rod stated, "Wait a minute, we mentioned all the help the Warriors received with an easy route, but LeBron joined stars, got help from the league, and won the bubble ring. Come on, fellas."
Look, we were talking to
First of
Golden
all,
State, Coach.
LeBron James went to a busted Lakers team. Man, it's crazy how media write these storylines. Was the Lakers good when LeBron got here, Trey? Laker fan?
No, they
I'm
were
pretty sure they were
they were
tragic
they
and
were
missed the
sorry.
playoffs.
And then as far as going to the Heat, I don't know what the big deal is about as far as going to join somebody. He wasn't the first one to do that. Like nobody said that it lessened Boston thing. If anything, I think that they underachieved. I think the Heat underachieved. I thought they would have won more championships. So, winning 2 or whatever he won there, man, you can't take that away. And then everybody says that, but D Wade was not healthy.
Yeah,
When was D
nobody
Wade
knew that
healthy on those
D-Wade
runs?
fall off was coming.
Right. When was D Wade healthy, Coach? I mean, we keep holding those conversations, but when was
Only
he
the
healthy?
first year.
And then they didn't even
Chris
win the
Bosh,
championship that
yeah.
year, right? Right. I mean, so when was D Wade healthy?
Right. And the
And that's
crazy
why I
part is
give it. As
D-Wade
much as
was
it
done
pains me to say
at
it,
like 2015.
as much as it pains me to say it, I have to give LeBron credit for that. Like, dudes wasn't healthy. Bosh took time. Bosh wasn't that healthy either, right?
Yeah, Bosh wasn't.
I mean,
And he
so
says Bosh, LeBron, and Wade were top 15 healthy or not.
And still, they won 26 games in a row.
Mm.
4 straight.
And as far as I'm not taking anything away from the Warriors. I'm just saying that sometimes on championship runs things fall your way. Like like when Toronto won, it was that luck shot by Kawhi, right? To end that game. I mean, it takes luck sometimes.
You know where the Warriors messed up at, y'all? 2018. They should have traded Draymond and kept KD.
Mm.
Should have kept Steph
You
and
think
KD
so?
together. That was the legacy.
Mm.
But then again, you can never
I don't
really
know.
trust KD. Draymond's more loyal.
Right.
KD's ready to walk out on Brooklyn yesterday. He said, "Y'all ain't keeping Kyrie? Bye. Bye, Felicia."
So I
that
bring up
right there.
with with foresight. I see went off with a couple of comments. Rookie of the year at this point: Jabari in Houston, Chet in OKC, or Panchero in Orlando. Who y'all
Follow.
follow? Ooh,
And I would
Paulo.
go with Ivy second.
I thought I was about to ask if they're a dark horse. So Ivy,
You said rookie of the year.
yeah,
I'm gonna go with Jabari, and
me too.
the only reason I'm
I
going
just
there
think
is
that Houston connection is going to be something serious.
I already told you why before the thing started. Man, the curse of the
Yeah.
Blue Devils, man. I'm hoping that Paulo stays healthy because those dudes they get the high draft. You know, they come out high draft and they don't stay healthy notoriously. None of those guys tend to pan out. So I hope he stays away from that injury. You know, stay off the injured list, young man, and he might be rookie of the year if he stays off the injured list.
Wow.
Paulo. Uh, good
Sign
track
me up for
record. So
Jaden Ivey. I'm taking Paolo out. You convinced me, CC.
you
Jaden
go.
Ivey.
He's going with Ivy. He said he's going with
Yeah, you
Ivy
just
instead.
scared me. I'm like, CC, how you gonna curse this man like that?
No, I'm just saying it's the curse of the Blue Devil, man. It's like they don't stay
Yeah.
healthy when they get. Look at
Now I feel like
Zion.
it's
We still waiting to
Brooklyn.
see what Zion gonna do. We still waiting, and it's a long list. You know, Kyrie had that same problem when he first came in. It's just the list goes on and on. Grant Hill, all those dudes, man. It's like they come in. You come from Duke, you hit the pros. It's like whoa, Elton Brand, all those dudes stayed hurt a lot. Like
Jason
those top dudes.
Williams.
So,
That's because of
yeah, Jay Will.
Duke's legacy.
You know,
That's crazy.
I'm just saying.
That's what happens when you erase the school.
Right.
It catches up with you eventually.
Oh my gosh, Duke got a curse. I never really realized that to this conversation.
Yeah,
Yep. Jaden Ivey, me. Detroit Pistons. Him and Cade Cunningham gonna be beautiful.
How much? Q squared. No. I don't even know what that means.
Let me see. Hopefully healthy. Kyrie, Okafor. Kyrie, healthy. Paulo's healthy. Jabari, Parker, Paulo. Okay. So, excuse me. So, of course, that's about the time for today. Our all NBA segment as we look for it. We got spring league summer play coming up as it plays in 3 different times. As we initially it starts out. Golden State hosts a game. I mean, a couple of games. Utah hosts a couple of games. Then Las Vegas with all 30 teams in play. We be looking at and seeing what's going to be going on in reference to the teams as they continue to get built with those players, the newly added players that were drafted, some of the undrafted free agents that go on, maybe some second years, third year players to fill out their rosters. A couple of things I looked at, like the Johnny Juzangs and the Kofi's and all that type of stuff are all on different teams. So we get a chance to see that new talent live and up front during the summer leagues, face off against one another. Opportunity for coaches to get in to see some players get some coaching opportunity, not players, some coaches, assistant coaches to get head coaching opportunities as they coach those teams. So you have that coming up slated. Free agency kicks off next week. We get to finally see. We're here. I'm very sure in the coming days we're here just like we talk about who's opting in, who's opting out, what's going on for the players. So of course that's going on. Free agency kicks off next week on Thursday to where it really them late nights we start hearing about players, organizations flying to a players' house to talk to them, try to coerce them to become. Well, maybe not as much. It's only got a couple in which you're doing that. So once they opt out, then we'll see that going on. Bradley Beal, Irving, Levine, some players we talked about, and see how that go. Of course, we're getting closer to the countdown with the MBA, Military Basketball Association, as they get ready to do their version of a championship with their NBA championship going on in the Denver, Colorado area. We'll have, of course, exclusively conversations with some of those teams and talk about what their track and path has been, and count that down as before they crown their champion for this year. So plenty of things in the works as we get conversations. We'll be back here talking to our usual tonight. NHL Stanley Finals. Tampa Bay. Does Tampa Bay hold off, or do they get eliminated in Avalanche hoist the trophy tonight? What y'all guys think?
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. 3-1, 4-1.
Yep.
Gentlemen sweep.
Yep. Tampa had it. What they won the last two or whatever. Yeah, it's a wrap.
They
No
was
three-peat.
they was on their way to a dynasty.
No three-peat.
Of course, Bishop isn't here, but in grand fashion, I'm very sure we'll hear a boomer sooner as the men's College World Series finals is getting ready to kick off, and his beloved Oklahoma Sooners men will be playing against the Ole Miss squad to determine who will be the men's College World Series champion this year. Of course, my Big 12 hate is on full display as let's go Ole Miss. I'm rocking with Mississippi. We just can't have a situation to where the women and men for Oklahoma win the series because we'll never be able to be quiet him and that boomer sooner chant. So we have that. Gentlemen, any last words before we get up out of here?
Man, y'all have a great weekend. Thank y'all again for putting me out here. Run, man, run. I got a little bit of love for LeBron, but your hate for Duncan, wow, impressive, impressive.
The big fundamental.
Yeah.
I think the next person that cracks the top 10 is easily Giannis Antetokounmpo. At the end of the day, he's going to go down as an all-time great. We might be talking about him above Shaq, maybe about 6. Put him above the Dream. I don't know. We'll see. He got to get to about 4 championships. But that was a fun conversation. See y'all boys Monday.
Yes, as a matter of fact, with that being said, one other thing, Rise, the Antetokounmpo brother story is going to air or play starting today, the 24th. I think is on Apple Plus TV. So if you can catch it, take a look at it. You know, we always have a conversation. We talked about Hustle. Maybe we can talk about Rise. We talked about a couple other things. Laker eccentric with They Call Me Magic winning season. So now we have another opportunity. Take a look at Rise so we can talk about that as well. So, like you said, of course, it's been a great day, great conversations as always. Gladly to see y'all high speeds in the formation this morning. Look forward to seeing y'all. As y'all know, First Formation is here every Monday through Friday, 09 to 1100 hours. I stand corrected. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. It's on Disney Plus. I got so many of them. I got it mixed up. Disney Plus. I think that was just a way for me. It was like you go to Apple Music and you be like, oh, it ain't on here. But then he's like, I might as well look at Magic. They call me Magic since I'm here. That's all that was, Coach. My fault. Yes, Rise on Disney Plus. Catch that. Check it out so you can be part of the conversation. As all our conversations, like always, a good conversation. High speeds that's out there. Of course, our panel, Ron. On behalf of Ron, myself, Cornelia, CC. That's the Speak Easy, the Stimulate Your Mind show. You know what I'm saying? First Formation at this time. Show attention. Dismiss. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Look forward to see y'all on Monday. Holla at y'all.
All right.
All right, fellas.